Hey everyone, Chris here, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about the books I read between January 12th and January 18th. First up, I read The Body in the Garden by Catherine Shellman, and I gave this book 4.5 stars. This is set in London in 1815. We follow Lily, who is recently widowed. She is at a party her friend is hosting and decides to get some air in the garden when she overhears two people arguing. One of them is trying to blackmail the other, and shortly after, one of them ends up dead. When Lily realizes that the police have been bribed not to investigate, she decides that she's going to make it her mission to find out what happened to this man and who exactly he is. I thought this was a really good mystery. I like historical fiction mysteries like this. I thought it was really interesting to see how Lily had to navigate the society that she lives in and her status in that society. I really like that she cared enough that she couldn't just let it go, even though it would have been easier for her to kind of let this mystery go and kind of let sleeping dogs lie. I was not able to figure out who the killer is, and I always love when a mystery or thriller book can kind of confuse me on that, and I definitely am looking forward to the next book in this series. Next up, I read Moonlight Brigade by C. Alexander London, and I gave this book 4 stars. This is the second book in the Wild Ones series. We're back with Kit and his friends, and this time he is being challenged by Coyote, who, along with a gang of otters, has decided to steal all of the nuts and seeds and foods that Kit and the Wild Ones have stored up. Kit must figure out a way to get rid of Coyote and the otter gang. Otherwise, Kit, his friends, and the rest of the residents of Ankle Snap Alley will starve. I really enjoyed getting to see Kit's growth in this book and his continuing journey, and it was interesting to see how he has kind of settled into his life in Ankle Snap Alley and how important these people have become to him. I really enjoyed getting to see how he came up with his plan to fight back against Coyote and take back their food. I also did not expect the twist at the end of the book and am really looking forward to seeing how the end of this trilogy plays out. Next up, I read Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse, and I gave this book 4.5 stars. In this book, we have 4 points of view. The first is Shiala, who is a ship captain, who has the ability to calm waters with her song. She is charged with sailing a ship that carries our second point of view, Serapio. When Serapio was a young boy, he was set up to be a vessel for the crow god by his mother. Shiala is bringing Serapio to the city of Tova in time for the convergence. We also see Narampa, who is in the city of Tova and is part of the kind of planning for the convergence. She is the sun priest, and she is dealing with some shadiness with the people who surround her and has several attempts on her life, so somebody is definitely trying to get her. Lastly, we have Akoa, who we don't get as much time with as the other 3. He is a member of Carrion Crow, which is one of the clans who lives under the Sun Priest, and her cohorts. His point of view gives us a glimpse into the life of people who live kind of under the Sun Priest. This book is really, really hard to explain without getting into spoilers. So hopefully I didn't do too bad of a job. Like I said, we've got like the 4 points of view. Really, the 3 main ones are Shiala, Serapio, and Narampa. And basically all of these points of view are leading to the convergence. We're counting down to the day the convergence happens, and you kind of know going into it that these points of view are all going to be kind of drawn together. And I really enjoyed the way this book was laid out and how we got to see what each of the characters was dealing with, and I definitely think that gives us an interesting perspective on what we anticipate is going to happen when these characters kind of all come together. And I'm sad because this book left on a cliffhanger, and I have no idea when the next book is coming out or anything like that, so keep that in mind. If it sounds interesting, you may want to wait until we have more details about book 2 before you pick this up, because I definitely want to know what's going on. There's a lot of political maneuvering in this book, but it is told in such a way that like it doesn't drag or anything. And like I said, I think it helps that we're kind of bouncing around with the different points of view, because it gives us a bigger perspective on the world that these characters are living in. And I really enjoyed this book and am really looking forward to seeing where this story goes next. Next up, I read Legendborn by Tracy Deonn, and I give this book 4.5 stars. In this book, we follow Bree, who is 16 and has recently lost her mother due to a hit and run. She's struggling with some guilt and feelings of loss as the last things she said to her mother were said in anger. She is currently in an early college program at UNC Chapel Hill. She goes to a party on her first night there and ends up seeing a demon and having a random partygoer try to kind of wipe her mind and send her off without her memories. She's completely shaken by the fact that the world isn't as she thought it was and that somebody has the ability to erase memories, and it makes Bree determined to get to the bottom of things, especially when she realizes that this isn't the first time somebody has tried to erase her memory, and she gets memory back of somebody doing that on the night she found out that her mother was murdered, and it makes her wonder if these people are somehow connected to her mother's death. I really enjoyed getting to see Bree's journey in this book and getting to see how the magic in this world worked. Also, this is an Arthur retelling, and I thought that aspect of it was really fascinating. I really liked Bree as a character and getting to see her emotions and dealing with her grief over what happened to her mom and the guilt she feels about her last moments with her mother. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what happens with Bree in the coming books, as they leave it in quite the interesting spot. Lastly, I read Straight On Till Morning by Liz Braswell, and I gave this book 4 stars. This is a twisted tale novel. The twist in this is, what if Wendy first traveled to Neverland with Captain Hook? I honestly can't remember what happens in the original Peter Pan, as it's been so long since I've read it, so it was really interesting getting to be in this world and in this story with these characters, because I'm familiar enough with the world that, you know, it's familiar to me, but not so familiar that I can necessarily anticipate things if it jives with what happened in the movie. I will say I really, really liked the interactions we got between Wendy and Tinkerbell in this book, and I really liked how the book kind of wrapped up. This is not my favorite Twisted Tale, but it is definitely one of the ones I've liked more, and if you're a fan of Peter Pan and you really liked Wendy, you should definitely check this book out. So these are some of the books that I've read recently. If you've read any of these books, feel free to talk to me about them in the comments below. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me star emojis, like this video, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!